Hello YouTube friends, welcome to my cabin here at the Last Homely House. I'm Kate, and as the year draws to a close, I've decided to settle down here for the short day that is New Year's Eve. And I've got this project that I want to do. I've been saving it for when I have a few hours spare down in the cabin. And I thought I'd do it down here with you. I came down earlier on and I turned the heater on. I've got a lovely heater here and also a little heated pad in my back which keeps me lovely and warm. Now what I've got here is some wool that I spun a few weeks ago. I talked all about it in my October diary, no, my November diary for my Patreon channel. And this is wool that I selected all the fibres from. I've got a huge range of lovely, beautiful colours of fibres, all the colours under the sun. But when I was selecting these, just quite intuitively, without really any thought about what I might do with the fibre, with the wool that I made, I chose unconsciously what I think of as cabin colours. So the colours that are in my cabin, my curtains, my beautiful windows, my lovely quilt wall, and the blanket that I finished about a week ago. I actually finished crocheting the blanket that I've been making for probably about 3 years. And that one's the muted colours that I think sits well in the cabin. Because I love colour, you know I do. And I love really bright colour. Lots of really often quite jarring colours next to one another. But in the cabin there's a kind of like a different vibe, a softness that I really I enjoy. And obviously it sunk into my consciousness when I was choosing the colours for this wool that I spun. And I spun it here. I have my spinning wheel here, and I wanted to get the spinning wheel out because it was literally probably a year since I'd done any spinning. And spinning is one of the things that I do that is probably the most get out of your head and into your hands things that I do. And it's the most relaxing thing I do. I do a lot of things that I really love. Everything we do with our hands is that we enjoy making is enjoyable, isn't it? But I think spinning just about takes the top spot for me, because you need to coordinate your hands and your feet and your brain, but in such a kind of calm, intuitive way that you almost don't need to think about it. I mean, this isn't great yarn. I'm not holding this out to be the best spun yarn you've ever seen. It suits me and it suits my function and my taste. But, you know, if what we're looking for is a fantastic spinning, this is not fantastic spinning, but it makes me very happy. Now, I hope I've spun enough, because I have a project in mind for it, and I'm going to make a start on it today while I sit with you for a little while at the end of the year and just reflect on the year that's gone and look forward to the year that's coming. It's been quite a year, hasn't it? It's been a really interesting year, and next year for me I think is going to be interesting in quite a lot of different ways. But first of all, we'll talk about this year that's gone. I've really loved making content for you here. I work here with my daughter-in-law Anna and with my daughter-in-law Rita, who works from London, so we do that work via FaceTime. And what's going on here? Let's just cut that end off there, it's a bit lumpy. And between the three of us, plus, you know, other members of my family, but those two particularly, we make, well, we fill the shop with interesting things, and I hope we make content that you enjoy watching. Anna does a lot of help here with the filming and the editing, and just encouraging, really. She's very encouraging. And so what I want to do then is show you the sample that I made last night. I did a swatch, and because I'm going to knit with this. I hope there's enough. If there isn't, I could spin a bit more because I have the fibres still. But I'm going to knit with this. And I'll tell you what I'm going to knit. I'm going to start it now. I may not finish it in this video, but I'm going to start it now. Here down in the cabin, quite by accident, I've started making 12-inch cushions. And I want to make a 12-inch cushion in every different discipline there is, textile art there is. And so to that end, I've got quite a lot of sewn ones. I've got one that's coming next year, which I've really, really enjoyed making, which is a tapestry cushion, again in colours that I think will suit the cabin. That one's just waiting to be finished. In fact, if you've got the Last Homely House calendar for 2026, which is the year of colour, then the October page in the 2026 calendar is me making, is a picture of that cushion partly made. It's made now, not finished. I haven't made it into a cushion yet, but I've made it, the front panel, and I really, really enjoyed making it actually, but it was a lot more time consuming than I thought it was going to be. But isn't that lovely? I love that about handcrafts. They often take a lot longer than you think, because so for me it's more to do with the process than the end result. I really like how things look when they're done, but I love the curiosity that takes me into a particular type of making. Oh, I wonder what it would be like to do this. Oh, let's have a try at that. And which has led me to make quite a lot of different cushions for the cabin. That one more for the October page of the calendar to make. But this is one, I haven't made a knitted cushion for the cabin yet. And so because this is so obviously cabin colours, I thought I would cast on this knitting today and make a cushion. That's what I'm going to do. Now, like I say, I've just knitted a swatch. I don't knit swatches. But isn't it a good idea to do that? Because sometimes I'll get a long way through a project and realise that it's too big or too tight knitting, or just wrong, you know. Just recently I've been making some quilt blocks, just a few little ones for a little project that I've been doing. And I was so impatient to get on with them that I didn't square up the blocks on one of them. What a mistake. I just wanted to get on. Oh, never mind, they'll be fine. Well, they're not fine. Squaring up the blocks, making a tension square, all those little things are really, really important, I think. But sometimes I'm too impatient to do them. So I'll show you this tension square, let's call it. So here's the little sort of tension square that I made, and I quite like the fabric that makes. So I'm going to work from that sort of tension idea. The 4.5mm needles, and I brought 4.5s with me. So I brought 4.5s and I brought 5s as well, because this is quite, I'd say this was a kind of chunky yarn. I'm not an accurate spinner, not by any means, but I'm going to start with the 4.5s because that's what this sample's knit on, and I'm going to knit myself 42 stitches. Because this is a 12-inch cushion, and we're going to do some sort of a, hopefully it might just be stocking stitch, the whole thing, but it might have a bit of a texture to it. Anyway, I'm going to crack on and do that now, and spend this time totally relaxing after the very busy build up to Christmas, and then the preparations for New Year, all of that. I don't do anything for New Year. I have an early night. Past all of that sort of going out and celebrating thing, I'm not too bothered about all of that. I have got a cup of tea down here though. Oh, Oh, that's very good. Comes every year, Christmas, doesn't it? And it's kind of like in a big flurry of activity and planning and buying probably too much food and too many presents, maybe. But it's nice to treat people you love at Christmas time with a bit of affection and a bit of a really nice bit of food. And I've got a fridge full of leftovers now, so I'm going to be eating my way through those now. This is very good tea. Oh, very good. So I thought I'd sit here with you now, cast on, do a bit of knitting, and have a think about this past year that's just gone, 2025. Another creative year. And the thing that, when I think about it, the thing that springs to mind first of all is my ambition this year, my desire this last year, to use a lot of my scraps. I organised all my scraps into coloured boxes. Agnes, my little granddaughter, helped me do that. And we've got these boxes and boxes now, with each with one colour in, that I made into little collections of tiny scraps, really tiny. Some of them are so tiny that really you could have thrown them away. And in fact, in the middle of the year, I did make a cat bed and stuffed it with quite a lot of the scraps. So this year, I've actually had to write them down because I knew that I would forget them. So the scrap challenges that I gave myself this year and completed. First of all, I made what I called the planets quilt, which was me kind of, it was circles. It was me challenging myself to see if I could sew accurate circles. Because that's something I've always shied away from, thinking that other people can do circles, not me. But it turns out I can do circles. And I made some scrappy circles on plain bold coloured backgrounds and sewed them all together. I think what we might do is put a list in the description below this video. We'll do a playlist of 2025's the videos I'm talking about, although I think there is a playlist of scrap videos. Anyway, this one was the circles quilt, or the planets quilt I was calling it, and I really enjoyed it. In fact, I think you'll find that in the Year of Colour calendar, that one puts in an appearance as well. I really enjoyed making that one, and that was the quilt that I sold in aid of Choose Love, which was my charity this year. I've been supporting Choose Love all year with a monthly donation from my ad revenue from YouTube, and then I made 2 quilts for Choose Love, one in the summer and one at Christmas, and they've had all those donations now, which is really nice to think that, you know, what we do here at the Last Homely House can benefit people who really need it. Anyway, that was the planets quilt, and I love doing that one. But then I kept going and going, and I made a scrappy string piece quilt, which was now that one I donated that one to a charity. That one I donated that to a mental health charity. That was a nice one to make. In fact, that was probably the most colourful one I've made this last year. Probably. Now let's not cast on too many, Kate, because this is just a 12-inch cushion. I think I'm going to go for 42. For no good reason, really. Then I made the rainbow shadow block colour wash quilt. Scraps again, scraps, more scraps. And that one was the most recent one I've made. I'm just going to count to 42. Just had a couple extra there. 42. Why 42? Don't know. Because it divides by 7, that's why. Because I'm going to do knit and purl. 7 knit, 7 purl. I think. where was I talking? Yes, the shadow quilt, because that one I've made a video about that and put that one up quite recently, and I loved making it, and everybody noticed the mistake that I made. I did the shadows with pale grey and slightly darker grey, so it was quite subtle, which is not usually a word you can use to describe me. So I did the subtle grey and lighter grey, and I did the shadows, and from a distance it looks fantastic, and from a distance you can see very clearly the one that I've got wrong, where I've put the little block at the wrong side of the longer block. So I'm going to rectify that, because a lot of people were saying that, you know, that only the creator can create perfection. Well, I think I can create my version of perfection as well, and I think it would always annoy me if I had that little anomaly. It's actually not little at all. It's really big. When you see it, you can see it. It's like anything, isn't it? When someone points out an error, that's all you can see then, isn't it? Before that you weren't noticing it perhaps, but then that's the only thing you can see is, oh yeah, that's wrong. So I am going to rectify that one, because it is going to annoy me. So I'm now going to count 7 and 7, and I'm going to do 7 knits and 7 pearls, because this wool is quite colourful in its own right, so it doesn't really need a big hefty pattern, I don't think, but I think a little bit of texture knit and purl would be quite nice. 7, so I'm going to do 7 by 7, which will give me little squares of knit and purl. I've been doing quite a bit of knitting lately, because I knit a few Christmas presents, which was nice, just little ones for little people in my family, so that was good. Okay then, so I'm going to have to count for a minute now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, you're just going to have to tune out a bit while I count. Is that okay? 5, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, chat amongst yourselves while I do this. Because when I get to the end of this row, I might actually discover that I've chosen too small a needle. Let's see. Well, I've had a very pleasant couple of hours in the cabin, and I've got this square of knitting done. At one point I thought I might have to spin a little bit more of this yarn, but look how much I've got left. Just enough to cast off with. And I've got a cushion pad here, and with a little bit of tweaking it'll fit on there really well. And then in here I went up to the house and I brought back the linen that I made these curtains with. So I've got some beautiful bits of linen here that I could make the cushion back with. I'm not going to knit both sides. I did think I would have to go and spin some more wool at one point, but if you can see there, it actually fits really beautifully for my little 12-inch cushion. I think that's why I'm enjoying doing these 12-inch cushions, because they give me an opportunity to try something like this textured knitting, but they're not very big, so they don't take too long. So I have this little bit left to cast off with, but I was also prepared to undo the little swatch that I did earlier, so I have more here as a little backup if I need it. Okay, so I'm going to cast off now then. I'm just going to, I've got a stretchy cast off that I do, but I don't think I need to do that. That's a good cast off around the bottom of a jumper or sleeves or whatever. If you're knitting a top down thing and you want a stretchy cast off, it's good for that. But I'm just going to do an ordinary cast off and have a look at this piece once it's done, and then I'll make a back for it and we'll have a finish in this video, which is nice. I've enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed it. I've got a little speaker down here and my phone, and I've been listening to Beatles on Spotify, on Shopify, what's it called again? Spotify? One of those streaming platforms. I've been listening to the Beatles anthology. It's a really great listen. I've been really enjoying it. So, okay, I'm just going to cast off along here. And then I think I will block it because it's pretty lumpy and it might benefit from, you know, just being wet and blocked. Oh, do you do that when you're knitting, when you're casting off? I just got carried away and started knitting a row. I'm not knitting a row, I'm casting off. If I'm not paying attention, and I'm filming for you, so I'm not paying attention, I just started knitting. Okay, concentrate, Kate. There's only one thing to do at a time here. Okay, so hopefully I'll show you a cushion at the end of this video. But as I'm wrapping up this this year, I'm looking ahead to 2026, because that is the year when I will be 70 years old, which hardly seems possible that I'm even saying that, but it's true. I'll be 70 in a few weeks' time. And I'm not worried about it. I think it's going to be a really interesting year. I've got some interesting plans and things that I want to do, videos I want to make for you and things that I want to do for me. That is actually the same thing. And so looking ahead to next year then, sometimes on New Year's Day everybody makes loads of New Year's resolutions, don't they? I've never been a fan of that. I've always thought that if you want to do something and you want to do it badly enough, you just do it. You don't need to have a special day to decide to lose weight or do this or do the other thing. I don't think you need that. I think you can just do whatever you want to do whenever you want to do it, is my thinking. So it's a very short day. We're really at that time of the year, and although what time is it? I haven't got my watch here. It's not even 3 o'clock and it's already dusk out there. But the days are getting longer, I keep reminding myself. So whatever it is you're going to be doing in January, February and on and on and on throughout the whole year for 2026, I hope it's something that you're really looking forward to doing. Maybe you do make resolutions, good for you. I think if I don't make a New Year's resolution, I can't get upset when I don't keep it. Is it that? It might be. Okay, so I'm going to finish this, take it inside to block it, which means I'm going to soak it in warm water for a bit, and then put it on a towel and spread it out and make sure it's at least 12 inches so that when I make the backing. Now, how am I going to make the backing? I could make a whole linen cushion and then stitch this to it. That might be how I do it. Yeah, that might be how I do it. So I'll bring you back in at the end when this project is finished. And I wish you a very, very happy new year. And just all the peace and health and contentment. Sometimes people say, oh, I want you to be happy, but really I just want you to be content, because sometimes happiness is hard to achieve, but contentment is within all of our grasps, I think. So look at that last stitch, pull it through, and I could not have timed that any better, could I, to finish my knitting there. That's, what do they call it, yarn chicken? Definitely plain yarn chicken there. Okay then, let's pop it on here. No spinning needed. Well, it's done. It's really nice to have a finish in this video. It's a small project and I really enjoyed making it. When I was looking at my scraps of linen, I found some pieces that I'd had to cut from the bottom of my cabin curtains because they were a little bit too long, and I managed to put them onto the back of this cushion. And so I've done an envelope back cushion, which is the sort I like to make, and this is some of my hand stitched sort of pajagi style linen on the back there. I like how that's finished. So now I can add this cushion now to my little row of cushions here that I'm collecting together. I've got some ideas for some more cushions I'd like to make to complete some of these textile challenges. If you've got any thoughts and ideas about cushions that you think I'd enjoy making and would fit well in with these cabin colours, then let me know in the comments below. But for now, I'd like to wish you a very happy new year, and I hope that 2026 is going to be marvellous for all of us going forward. So thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next year.